Wait a second.
Okay.
Okay, we are live, bro.
Wait, chill. Before I start, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Can you
you.
confirm?
Can you
Can you
hear
hear
me?
me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I just switched back. Yeah, I just switched back. Let me go live now.
Okay. Okay, yeah, we are live.
Yeah. Okay, starting now.
Okay. No, we are live, bro.
Okay.
Uh,
Wait, something is
uh,
wrong.
no, right now we are live. Like 1 minute is past.
Well,
We are live.
we're not live yet.
Yes, we are.
Oh,
You see, we are getting a live,
we're live.
right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I
Okay.
couldn't tell from my end. Something is wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
It's
Right now
good now. It's good now.
you can start. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hello,
Okay.
everyone. Welcome to the live stream. And sorry
Okay.
for the disastrous start. Network issues though. Network issues though. And
Yeah.
but we've resolved it
No
now.
problem.
I think we're fine.
Yeah, we are
Um,
fine.
yeah. So for today, I'm glad you guys made it and that you guys are here and everyone could be here today. For today, we'll just be doing something crazy as well. And Ali will be making out more front end magic. And for today, it's something with Tailwind again. We're bringing Tailwind back, but now we React
Yeah.
because I mean, why wouldn't you want to use Tailwind in React? Because yeah, they like support for Tailwind, several frameworks and libraries. So yeah, we're going to be doing something really cool, and by the end of the stream, I'm sure you will love it and you'll be excited. And
Mm-hmm.
you'll be
Yeah.
glad that you joined today. So let me pass it over to Ali. Yeah, Ali.
Okay, so in the name of God, so hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing great. So Toby, if you can confirm like if my mic is okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Perfect.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So as Toby said, like we are going to to teach you how to work with Tailwind CSS while working with React.js, because Tailwind CSS is something that will make our work very easy. So why not use it with React.js to make our work very easy? Like, so that's what me and Toby are going to do it by while we are doing this live stream. So the first part of the live stream is going to showcase like what kind of project we are working on. So this is a very simple project. So first we are going to set up the Tailwind CSS, and then we are going to make this simple, like we have a div
Mm-hmm.
and we have an input. So we are going to write something in the input and say like you can do it, like a quit. And when once we submit the form,
Mm-hmm.
like it's inside the form.
Okay.
So we are submitting the form. So once
Mm-hmm.
we click the
Mm-hmm.
enter, so it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
added to the list. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a very simple list.
Oh, okay.
Like you can write and submit the
Mm-hmm.
form, and it's going to be added to the list. So that's what we are going to make by the end of
Yeah.
this live stream, and by using
Mm-hmm.
React.js and Tailwind CSS. And that's really
Yeah,
cool. Like,
definitely. I'm super. Yeah,
yeah,
super excited.
yeah. Okay, so
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
if Toby, like, are you ready? Okay, so
Yeah. Born ready.
Yeah, okay. So this is a simple Vite project. So we are going to use Vite for creating React project because Vite is very simple to use and very light and very fast while we are working with React.js. So like if you don't know how to create React.js with Vite, so you can watch our live stream which we taught you like how to create React project by using Vite. So I want Toby right now, like for a simple showcase, like to tell you how to create vid, you can say npm create vid. So when you click the enter, it's going to give you some options which you can name a folder. You can choose which framework do you want to use, and yes, it will give you some option which you can use. So we already did that. So I want from Toby to download and add Tailwind CSS to the project so that we can continue our work.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah. So good explanation, Ali. So let me connect back to your terminal. So I'm requesting read access now from your
Okay,
terminal,
done.
so you can give me access. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, perfect. So now to install Tailwind CSS, it's very simple, like to set up in. I've been doing this um for some time now, like several projects that I've set up Tailwind CSS in, and because we're using Vite now, Tailwind helped us by like providing some documentation that we can follow to help set up the project in our Tailwind application. So we can just easily check out, you can just take out the documentation here, which is you can just go to tailwindcss.com/doc/guides, and then you see it there. So the first step on the documentation, if Ali can show us so that we'll follow along as well. So Ali, you can
yeah,
share your screen and show the viewer so you can see it.
yeah. I'm showing it.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking at documentation now. So I'm just going to copy
Hmm.
the first command, which is okay. Thank you. I'm going to copy the first command, which is npm create something something read at latest. So I'll just paste it here in the terminal. So paste it here. Uh, yeah, so should be installed. Yeah, so it's installing now. Is it?
Uh,
Yeah, so it's installed. Okay, yeah. So done. So first,
I think
yeah, first
you
command.
make another folder. Like we already did
Are you
the
there?
npm create vid, so all we need to do is just install the Tailwind CSS, like the second step.
Oh my God, yeah, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you're right. So let me delete this. Delete it from your end. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Blooper, blooper, blooper. Let's move on.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so the first command actually to run is npm install deal install -d with css for css.
Yeah.
Sorry. Uh, okay, so let me just paste the command on terminal here. Hit right there, and then run the command. Because I know it should generate like a tailwind.config.js for us and install the dependencies so that we can get it set up in our project. So that's the way it should actually go. Sorry for like
Yeah.
going for that. I'll just
No
follow from
problem, bro.
scratch. So
No problem.
so I
Mhm.
so we're installing the dependencies now. Well, are we done? I think we're done.
Yeah, we are done.
Yeah, so I can create. Yeah, so I can now use this command, which is npx init tailwind-p. So this command would help us create like our tailwind config.js. You'll see it on the side, but when I run this command, it should generate it for us. So and that would have like our default configuration for tailwind. So it created the file for us and created a CSS file too. So now for the last step, which is or the second to the last step, which is for what we are doing currently. So it's just to copy this contents part here. So this content is like a configuration that Tailwind does to check through our JSX and JS files, which because we're working with React or TSX to see okay if in any part here we've written like class names and use some utility classes from the Tailwind package that would help us to style our components and our DOM elements. So that part here, which is content, will check through our files to see, okay, um, I'm configuring Tailwind for all the files or all the components that Tobiloba or whoever is using me is working on or something. So now coming back to tailwind config.js, I'm just going to edit out this part where there's content. I'm going to paste what I have here there. So I just edited that out and pasted it. So you have to be careful to check the commas and everything. So I just copy that part. So now the last part is to add our tailwind directives to our CSS, and like it's always best practice to add them at like the very top so that you don't mix things up. Like it's good practice to add them at the top of your CSS file. So I'm going to put this in my main CSS file, which is like index.css. Yeah, so I'm going to come to index.css here. I'll paste this here, and yeah, I think that is pretty much all to setting up Tailwind in our React. So we've managed to set it up. First, this documentation gives us a step-by-step process of creating your Vite project, then setting up Tailwind. So I made a mistake before of like creating a Vite project from scratch, which was unnecessary.
No
So what we
problem.
actually needed was just to
Yeah.
install Tailwind. Yeah, what we
Mhm.
needed was just to install Tailwind and set it up. Yeah, thank you, Ali.
Okay, no problem, bro. So Toby did an excellent job, like adding Tailwind CSS to the React project. So I think in index.css, these are as you like. We don't need this style, so we can remove this one. We only just need these three lines of
No.
code, which is coming from the Tailwind itself. So once we add, like the project is running on a local host. So when we add the Tailwind CSS, like we don't see it here. Why? Because we have to restart it. So we need to stop it and restart it again by saying npm run div. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
refreshing. Mhm. So right now we can see some changes. Okay, so we don't need this app.css file, so we can remove this one. In a second, we can remove this one,
Mm-hmm.
and also this one, and also this. We don't need these lines of
Yeah, we
code.
don't.
We can remove this one as
So
well. This user state,
yeah,
this
yeah, of
one, all of
course.
it. Just we need a div. And let's
Yeah.
let's add a h1
Mm-hmm.
and say whether it is working or not. We say it is working. Let's give it
It is
so you
working.
see, when we were teaching you about Tailwind CSS with HTML, we were supposed to say class and add the class utility classes from the Tailwind. But when you're working with
Mm-hmm.
React.js, we what we need to do is, because if we use class, it's going to give us an error. So we have to use class name instead of class. That's not a different. So let's say text 9XL and let's refresh it. Okay, it's working fine. Like,
That's big.
yeah, everything is working
Mm-hmm.
fine. So if we, like, I just want, okay.
Yeah.
So you see,
To add to what you just said. Yeah. So
okay.
yeah,
Hmm.
can I go
Yeah,
now?
yeah, you can go, bro.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So to add to what Ali mentioned, class name is something that the React team had to like add to sort of like not cause confusion, because when you're working in React, you're basically still writing JavaScript. Basically, everything in React is still sort of like JavaScript. And if you are like if you are creating your elements, your DOM elements when you are returning from a component and you're using like class, it might conflict with the built-in class in JavaScript, which is just for like making a class, a JavaScript class. But class name was something that they had to like add to to differentiate and not cause like conflict when it's compiling. Class name is for like styling. Class still exists for normal JavaScript stuff. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. So
Mhm. Yeah, true, true. Okay, so if we see the project, we need one div for the list and one form for the
mm-hmm,
inputs. So
mm-hmm,
I'm going to add one div
mm-hmm,
for the field to see the list, and one for and form
mm-hmm.
for the inputs. Like whenever we submit the form, we need to add that data to the list so that we can see it on the page. So that's all. Like we only need one div
Yeah,
and one form. Okay, Toby, you can continue from now on.
yeah. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Ali. So Ali did a good job, stopping there and like showing us how to set up everything and get it going. So I'm just going to continue from where he stopped by first. I still need to go back to the CSS and do some CSS research because at the moment Tailwind actually will still help us CSS research, but like on the long run it might start having some issues and things will break. So I'm going to come back to what Ali has done here in my CSS file. I'm going to use the universal selector to grab all elements on the page, and then before, sorry, asterisk, before and after. Keep typing it. Where is asterisk?
Yeah.
Is yeah, okay.
Okay.
After,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make this margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing border box. So yeah. So I've done CSS reset basically just to like reset the state of the style sheet that we have currently, and just to make the components neutral and everything. So so we're done with that. So now back to where we stopped, which is setting up the actual components and getting everything to work. So if we look at what Ali showed us in the demo, we can see that we have the never give up list at the top, and then we have like an input box at the bottom. Can you show it, Ali? Yeah, I can
Yeah.
show. Yeah, we can see that we have the never give up list at the top, and we have like this input at the bottom where we're like typing stuff in and showing. Then when you press enter, it then goes to the top. This might not have a good mobile experience because I mean, how would you type enter on mobile? And maybe like enter. I didn't test it, but for
Yeah.
now we're not really, yeah. But for now we're not really dealing with that. So let's just get this thing to work and show you how Tailwind works with React, and which is the purpose of this live stream for now at least. So so easy. Let me just start by setting up the hard coded parts of this, which is never give up, believe in yourself, and then showing you the form, the input with the form at the bottom, getting everything to work. So let me just start from somewhere at least. So back to where we have coming, yeah, back to what we have. So we have export default app and this. So now let me start by creating another div inside because this is a div. Sorry, thought I had autocomplete here. Tab 9 not working. So another div, start by setting up another div inside of my main div. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so we already set that up with the div outside and then the form at the bottom. So easy. I can just come back up here and create a list. Let me start by creating a list. That way it's better. So I can create a list up here and I can call my list like quotes or initial value, which is a better name. Initial value.
Yeah. Initial value.
Yeah, so for initial value, I can then come here and say it to be an array of objects, obviously. So it can't really be
Yeah.
an object standalone. So an array of objects. So in here, I can do like an ID of one because I'm going to be mapping over it eventually, and I'll need to put key and value. So it's always good practice to have, whenever you're mapping over an array of objects, to have an ID that you use as a key because it's always very good instead of using index. So you use the ID as the key, and then the value will be there also as well inside the object. So array of objects, and then we have
Exactly.
our value
Yeah.
inside. So this one is never give up.
Yeah.
Never give up. Sorry. Never give up. And the other one here, uh, another object in here. So this one is ID of two, and the quote here is believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Believe,
Yeah.
believe in yourself.
Yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay, done. We're done with that now. So let me come back to my main component now. Let's just do a simple map because I'm very eager to like show what we have currently before I start styling. Very eager to like show what we have at the
Like
moment.
we have
So I'm
nothing.
going to come here and write a map here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but we have like the array of object outside, which is initial value. But I really want
Oh
to like
yeah.
show it out and display it or something like
Yeah.
that.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So so back here. I'm going to, so yeah, back here, I'm just going to like start by setting this guy up, and I'm going to do a quote. Sorry, sorry. Yeah. So that here, but I need to set up like a state first because obviously I can't really map over everything that I have from the object. If I map over it, React might not render it properly for me because it will be seeing the object, and obviously React wants to be React and follow all this rendering and everything. So now I need to actually create a state to help me hook into the React component that I'm currently on, and then from there I can then have another array that I'll map over. So obviously this sounds like gibberish for now, but
Yeah.
let me show you the thought process so that you follow along, and then we'll see what we're trying to do. So let me start by setting this guy up. So const, I'm going to call this guy quotes, which is a very good name for. So always practice like good naming. Um, always follow good best naming practices for your states, for your helper functions, for your variables. It's always very good. So
Yeah.
so use states,
Exactly.
and I'm going to make this an yeah I'm going to make this an array initially, and then if no, sorry, not an array. I'm going to just leave it as use state. I already have an array outside. Initial value up here is going to be the array we are going to put inside quotes. So I'm just going to come here and initialize quotes with the array that we've had coded outside, which is initial value, and all the all the state updates we'll be making will be done to the initial quote array outside, which we have access to via this state here, which is use state. We don't obviously want to mutate the initial values directly, which is outside. It doesn't really make sense because and it would like get messed up and you might lose some data and when you refresh or something. But with a state, you can actually keep track of it and it will help you to save some things and persist some things to
Yeah.
when you render whatever happens, it will keep it for you. So here
Yeah.
now,
Exactly.
now that I've done that, I've set up a simple state. Yeah, I've set up a simple state, and now it's time for us to map over it and display what we currently have on the UI. So I'm just going to come here, which is like quotes, which is the the state we have up there. So quotes.map. So I'm going to grab quote.map, and then I'm going to say for each quote I need you to return. So I'm going to notice how here I'm using like um brackets here. No, is this bracket? No, parentheses rather. Yeah, this is parentheses. I'm using
Yeah.
parentheses
Yeah.
instead of
Friends.
yeah, I'm using parentheses instead of like curly braces. So what I'm saying here essentially is that it should return automatically for me. So I don't have to actually explicitly have to go and write down that return inside of my callback function for the map. So by using parentheses there, I'm just telling the callback function to return the UI and then we'll see what is being displayed. I can show you that, but like it's always like good
Hmm.
to pay attention to this using like parentheses there when you write your callback function for like map at least. Yeah, so I'm going to come back here and put like
Exactly. Yeah.
my div. Yeah, I'm going to put my div here, another div which I'll give a key name. So let's just come back here and then do a div here. So now notice now that ID we wrote in the initial value array of objects we're now going to is going to be useful to us here. So normally I can actually like come here to my callback function and do like idx or something and then it will give me the index of each value in the array of objects. But it's always good practice on the long run because it might cause some issues. And idx it's good, it helps when you're not doing it's very complex stuff or when you're not doing maybe business scale stuff or something, production level stuff. But for like your own thing, you can use IDX. You can just set it up and hook it in. So for now, let's just go back. Let's go fast and move on to using the ID from the array of objects. So I'm just going to do quote here dot ID. Yeah, yeah, quote dot ID. So I'm
Yeah.
going to come back here into my div. Sorry, let me use like a maybe span or something because like span is an inline
Yeah.
element,
It's
so
fun.
it won't really like
Yeah.
mess
It's
things
fun.
up for me. It's just keep it like on the same line. Yeah, in line.
Yeah.
Span is not blocked, so it's like keep them on the same line. So I don't have to stress myself styling much. So let's come back here. I'm going to have to pass over to Ali soon, but before that, let me just display this guy. So
Yeah.
this one will be quote.id, which is already a number, by the way. You can see here 1, 2. So we can still use it again to have our ID. as our numbering, because the ID is already like, it's just like normal numbers. So we can just use them. I'm going to write down that span here. Sorry, span, and yeah, I'm just going to do like, sorry, quotes dot, what do I name it? Quotes dot quote. That's, yeah,
Yeah, quote not quote. Yeah.
that's the quote. So if you look at the UI
Okay.
now, what do we have, Ali?
Like I'm not going. Okay, so if I save the file, we are going to get an error because the initial
We've not
value,
imported.
like you said, initial quits, like instead of initial value in the
Oh
user
my god,
state.
initial value.
Yeah.
Yeah, initial value. Sorry, bugs happen. And I didn't import use state too.
Yeah, you didn't
I'm always used
import it as well.
I'm always used I always used to VS Code handling these things for me. God, I think I need to spend more
Oh
time
yeah.
writing code on this part.
No
Yeah.
problem.
So use state here.
It happens. Yeah. User
So use
state.
state from React.
React. Hmm.
So I think this should be hooked up now.
Yeah. Right
Yeah.
now we can see the list on the page.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
cool.
Awesome,
Okay.
awesome, awesome. Yeah, so should I let me just like go one step further and set up the inputs, then I'll pass it over back
Okay.
to you. So I'm just going to do the
Okay. Go
UI
ahead,
of the
bro.
input. I'm just
Yeah.
going to do I'm just going to do the UI of the inputs, then Ali will go on from there. So obviously we're not submitting the form, so I might take out this action for now, and Ali will explain why for that like later on. But for that, now it's better to
Yeah.
put like, now there are some DOM elements like input button, field sets, label. They are like within the form family. It's always good semantically and accessibility and all those things to put these components inside the form tag, because it's the form like is like a grouping tag for all of these things. I mean, obviously you can. I mean, it's some people. I see some people using divs to wrap inputs or using like other elements, but it's not good semantically,
Yeah.
because for accessibility and for other reasons, basically when you are styling and all these things, it might cause issues and might, make your page not have the feel or structure, like the right structure basically. So yeah, this is good HTML to write basically. That's what I'm saying. So it's just better to it's just good to write it this way. That's the entire point of what I was saying. So I'm just going to call this a
Yeah.
type
That's
of
good.
text, and what else? What else? So type text. I don't think I need to give
Like
any other attributes. The rest are
placeholder.
placeholder. I can add a place. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
add a placeholder.
Yeah.
So a placeholder
Placeholder.
of like add quotes. Placeholder of like add quote should be nice. So placeholder.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I don't need this to be I can just put it as a normal string. Like add quote,
Yeah. At quote.
and this should be
Quote. Yeah.
fine. Yeah, this should be fine. So from
Yeah.
here,
You're
Ali can
getting.
do
Yeah.
some other things, and then we'll both style, I think. So we'll go back and forth basically. So go ahead, Ali. Sorry for taking so much time.
Okay. No, no problem, bro. Like you did explain everything.
Yeah,
Like you like
yeah,
as
thank
to
you.
be created an array like initial value. So you might ask like, what's the point? Like
Mm-hmm.
we have this array, so we can put this initial value and map over it and see the data. So we can also do that. So you might ask like, what's the point of using like creating user state and storing the initial value to another variable which is quits. So I'm here to say that if you see the showcase, like I want to add something like add quote, and I want this to be added to the list. So for that, we need to store this initial value to a variable so that we can bring change on it easily. So that's why we are using user state. So okay, so I think we need some styling to see it more clearly. So I need the whole div to be set on the center of the page. So what I need to do is target the div and give them a full width and height of the screen. And for
Yeah,
centering the div, I'm going to use flexbox. I would say flex, justify content center, and item center. You see, we are getting the options like for utility
yeah,
classes. That's amazing. So you can also get
yeah.
that. Like it's an extension. You can type tailwindCss Tail Tailwind CSS. You see, like Tailwind CSS, like if you install this one, so whenever you write utility clauses, you will get the options which will make the work easy. So that's what we are using right now. So you see, like this div and this form is aligned like the flex direction is row. So I want it to be flex column. So I will say flex column. Okay. So for the list item, I'm going to give them a fixed height and fixed width. So I will say width of something like 60 and height of 96. Oh, that's a lot. Say something like 772. So let's give them a background and say background gray. Okay, background 100. Okay, let's give them padding 4, and let's round give them border radius, and also let's give the shadow as well, shadow LG. Okay, right now it's looking good. Let's see if we add a dot between the number and the quote, that would be cool. We can add a quote. Okay, that's even better. Okay,
Yeah,
right now,
yeah, this is better. Yeah.
okay, let's decide the input as well. We can target the input and say the width must be with the container. So it was width 60, so I'm going to say width 60. And let's give it a margin top. Okay, let's give it a background of gray, something like dark gray, and the text must be white. So whenever we write something, the text must be white so that we can see the text. Because the background is black, so the text must be white so that we can
Mm-hmm.
see it clearly. So
Mm-hmm.
let's give it a padding of 2 and around it
Yeah.
we'll read it with MB. So right now, whenever we write something, you can see the text.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the styling is done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what we need to
Awesome.
do is to add the functionality.
Yeah.
So whenever you write something, like you can do it, like it's a quick. So whenever I click the enter, you see, it's going to refresh the page for me, and I want the things that I write in the input to be added to the list so that we can see it. So the way that we can do it is create a function, name it anything. So for now, we are going to say on submit handler. So whenever we submit the form, we need the function to be called handler.
Yeah.
And let's give it an E, so it's going to be event. And
Grab the
you
event. Yeah.
see, like when I insert something and when I click the enter, like submit the form, it's going to refresh the page for me. Like it's going to remove everything. So I don't want to be the form to be like this one. Like when I
Yeah.
click
Exactly.
enter, I want the form not to refresh the page and not to take me to another page. I want the form to be on the same page and doesn't
Mm-hmm.
reload. It doesn't reload the page for me. So I can
Yeah.
say target the event and say prevent default.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay,
Perfect.
so I
Perfect.
what I need to do is
And
to
just stopping
take
the
this,
propagation of the event.
yeah, prevent default. So I can come to the form element and say on submit instead of on click, because we are submitting the form, not clicking the form. We can say it's on
On
submit.
submit. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now, when I say something like you can do it, so when I click the enter, you see it's not refreshing the page for me, and it's not also taking me to another page. So that's what we want. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I click this one, we can see this text, which is you can do it on the list, which is going to be the third quit. So that's the logic that we are going to add. So for that, what we need to do is to add something to the quit. Like you say, like I need to take the value of input. So I will say the value of input is going to be, I'm going to say event, and the target is going to be the first array. So I will say
It's,
first array.
it's supposed to destructure it. It's supposed to destructure value. Oh, okay. Okay. I just think the value. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's good.
So
That's
right
good. Go
now,
ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, let's console.log the value to see whether we take the value or not. let's go to the div tools, and let's say you can do it. So when I click enter, we have to see the text on the console.log. So that's what we want. Like it's working fine. So when we click the form, like we are getting
Perfect.
the text.
Perfect.
So I need this text to be added to the quit variable so that we can see it on the page. So that's what we are going to do. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
everything is working fine. So let me give you an
Yeah,
extra
yeah.
tip.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of saying const value, which is coming from the value itself, so we can remove this one and put this one in the curly braces. Like the name is very hard, like complicated, but right now you can access the value very easily. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Right now we have the value.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right now we have the value.
Mm-hmm.
So what we have to do is bring, like update the quit. So we can say set quit. The job of set quit is to change the value of quit. So that's why we are going to use the set quit. So right now, what I need to do is it's going to be an array. So like, like for example, when I say value, like for example, when I refresh the page, so when I type something like you can do it, you see, we are not getting anything because it has to be an array and give them an
Yeah.
ID, a number, and the value like quit. Really, like when you're writing something like
Mm-hmm.
an object, the object must be so similar to this one. Like it must have ID, it must have quit because
Exactly.
we are getting
Mm-hmm.
the value from the ID,
Exactly.
the quit. Because if we misspell something, we are not getting the value. Like we are not seeing the value on the page. So we say quit, which is going to be
Mm-hmm.
value. Like when I refresh the page, when write something like you can do it, you're going to see it. But here's a problem. Like it's going to remove all of it and restart the array. So that's the problem that we are getting right now, and that's what
Yeah.
we don't want. So what we want
Mm-hmm.
is we need to
Yeah.
copy the quit itself. Like we can need to copy it and add this
Yeah.
one like the quit, like add to the
Exactly.
array. What we are doing right
Yeah.
now is we are copying
Yeah.
and add this object to the list. So let's test it. You can do it. Okay, right now it's working fine.
Perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
okay, Toby.
Yeah, I
Okay,
like
Toby,
this.
you
I
can.
really like this. I like
Yeah.
the fact that we could.
Mhm. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I like the fact that we could. Yeah, I like the fact that we could actually like spread the old states, then add a new state based on whatever value we typed in the input. So it's basically like we're using we are like keeping track of the existing array, which was what you showed there. Because obviously, when if we don't like keep track of what we had before, we are just going to like override, or overwrite what we already had in the list, which is not very good, and which would make us
Mhm.
lose all the data we have. So yeah, this is very good. So just spread the previous states you had, which is just the array of codes, and then add the new one that you want to it. But yeah, I'm still divided on something because, and this is very awesome by the way. I'm still divided on something because I might want control over my input on my own code. And how do I like at that point where I'm like clearing out the inputs? Sure, there are workarounds, but I think we can still do a bit of refactor on this. What do you think, Ali?
Yeah, we can do it. Like yeah, you're saying like we are getting the same number all the time, the 444.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you mean that? Uh, can you hear me, bro? Toby?
Yeah. Can you hear? Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, so you're saying like we are getting a
Go ahead.
problem.
Yeah.
So you're saying like we are getting a problem like when we add
Uh,
something onto the list, so we are getting the same number like 444 all the time.
mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
if you like, you can continue like you
Yeah.
can fix the problem if you want.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
So to fix that. Yeah. Yeah, to fix that, it's something very quite fairly straightforward and simple. And
Yeah.
here is what I'm going to be doing basically. So I'm just going to be grabbing whatever ID was put in, and I'm going to add +1 to it. So I'll grab the last value which was added to the array, because obviously what we are doing here is we're just taking the value and like appending new values to it. So it's going to be at the end of the array. So I'm just going to grab that value at the end of the array, the object at the end of the array, but I need just the ID, which is a number. So I'm just going to grab that number and then add one to it to give us the exact number, so that we can,
Mhm.
because we're using the ID as a key and we're also using it on the UI here to display which list item we're currently on. So it's just good. It will so that we don't break things here. So I need to add that one to it so we don't break stuff. So let me come back here and edit out this add coded for. Let's just grab the quotes array, and in quotes I'm going to grab the key, the value with the key of quotes dot with the index, sorry, with the index of quotes dot length, uh, length, yeah, length minus one. So I'm just grab the value with the quotes dot length minus one, which is basically the last value. You know, in an array, the index starts from zero. So I'm just grabbing the last value in the array by doing length minus one. So and I'm going to add one to that because obviously actually we can still just do quotes dot length, and it's still like it won't give us the value in it, because obviously there's a disagreement between index of an array and the actual value itself, and the actual length of an array, because the length of an array is always like just the block value. An array with a length of 5 has indices of the value up to 4. So there's a disagreement between length of an array and the indices of an array. So you need to keep that in the back of your mind. So by grabbing the quotes array and going to quotes the length minus one, I'm picking the last value,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
is, but we're grabbing the ID. So I'm going to come back here and grab the ID. So the ID here. So I'm grabbing the ID, and then by grabbing the ID, which is a value, I'm adding +1 to it. So I've done the math right there. So the math right here, if we were to add another value now, which is let's say we added 4 now, for example. If I added something to the array, maybe don't give up. So don't give up will come into the input. When I add it to the list, don't give up is according with what we currently have. We also have 1 and 2. If I add don't give up, don't give up will come with a value of it will come with a value of 3, obviously. But because I'm grabbing like the last value to the end of the array. But actually, what this part of the what this part of this entire expression is doing is it's just grabbing the last value, which is going to be quotes dot length minus one, which is just 2 actually, because 0, 1, 2 index. So I'm grabbing 2, the value with the index of the object is index of 2 in my array, and I'm grabbing the ID from there, which is going to be like still 2 maybe. So when we grab that value, then I'm just going to
Yeah.
add 1 to it to make it 3 exactly. So yeah, I think I explained that
Okay.
expression right there. So it's kind of tricky,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it
yeah.
was tricky, but you did explain it very well, bro. It was a tricky one.
Yeah, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
So right now we have to
Yeah,
test it, like
thank
whether
you.
it is working or not. So let's test it, like you can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to, like, when I enter this one, you have to see the number three. Oh yeah, we can see it. Let's type another one. Like it is raining,
Mm-hmm.
which, like, it's raining. Actually, it's not a quit, but it's for testing. Don't take it serious, okay? Yeah, we are taking four. Like
Yeah,
you can, like, something like you will be a successful person in the future, something like that.
future.
Yeah, we are getting five. That's good. One, two, three, four, five.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Obviously, this could be.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, obviously,
Yeah.
this could be better. I mean, I could do it such that the input clears out immediately after I type something in. I could do that, but
Hmm.
and there's actually a good way to doing it where I have control over my input element itself, or I can just do something simple. Ali, do you want to try it or should I go ahead?
No, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just going to come back here. I can grab this value here, value that's coming from my array. I think if I set it back to an empty string, it should do it for me. Or unless I'm doing
I'm
something
not.
wrong.
Like there will be something wrong, and we because if you want to bring like
Yeah.
no, don't let it like it was okay. Like value is going to be an empty because so
Okay.
if we want to be like that, so we have to change the const to be let because const is like we
Yeah,
won't
exactly.
because if we use const we won't be able to change the value later on. But if we use the let, we can change the
Yeah,
value
exactly.
whenever we want. So right now it's working. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's test
Let's
it.
test it out though.
You can do it. It's not
No, it's not. It's
removing.
not working.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought
It's
as
like,
much. But there's actually a
yeah,
yeah. What'd you say?
like nothing. You can continue. Like I wanted to use another way for doing that, for doing bringing the logic. But
Oh yeah. Which way were you going to do? Because one way I have in my mind is actually setting up
yeah,
another state, and then clearing the
that's
input.
what
But there
I'm.
actually
Uh,
is a way.
yeah, that's what I was supposed to do.
but I can still,
Like,
but I can still just
yeah,
yeah. But I can still use another way. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. So there's actually another way to do it, but that way I'm actually going to need to use ref, and it's like two lines of code, and I can get it done like on the fly. So if I were to use ref, so I can just come here, set up a ref, call it const impute ref. I'm going to create a use ref here, just a normal use ref here. I don't need to add any. I don't need to instantiate with any object or anything of the sort. I just need to create it right there on the top. I can just put node there, just to make it not empty and break things, because it's always good practice
Yeah,
as well to like initialize your use ref with something. So I can just put null with the use ref on the top there. I can come here and hook up my ref here. So I'm going to call you ref. The ref I'll be hooking up here is impute ref. So ref, for those of you that don't know, use ref is another way for us actually to handle changes, I guess, or dynamics in our React applications. Because when we are working with React at times, and we want to make a change that will not cause a render, that's where the ref comes in. Like if I were to wanted to make a change in my application, and I don't want my application to like refresh and refresh from the start. I don't want it to render basically. Ref is one way to actually hook into that part of the life cycle where I can unmount stuff without, or remount stuff and make changes without affecting my other application. So now that I've done that, obviously it won't work yet because I still need to actually empty the ref. So for me to do that, I'm just going to come up here. Maybe this should be like let instead of const, because I'm basically just overwriting what let is. But does it really matter? It doesn't, because what I'll be grabbing is the object, which is the
yeah,
current object inside the ref. Yeah. So ref has an object called current, so I can just grab that object and overwrite it. Yeah. So I'm just going to come into this place, and I'm going to do impute ref
film.
dot current dot value, and I'm going to set it to an empty string. Sorry, empty
Okay.
string like this. So this should do it for us. And to test
So
it out now, it should work.
like we need to import it from the React.
Oh, sorry, use ref.
Yeah,
Oh God. I keep, I keep. Oh God.
no problem. Like
So
it
I'm going to do
happens.
use ref here. Yeah, use ref here. Sorry. If we set that over, if I set that over right there, it should be
Yeah.
working now. So you can check it out and try to
Okay.
test it.
Let's check it.
So let's see. Oh,
Okay. No problem.
okay, I see now.
Yeah. Okay. You can do it. Oh. Oh yeah. It's going to remove it.
It does work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Like that's one solution. That's one. This is actually a hacky way to do it. There's a more optimal way where you set up another state and then you clear that state when you're done. But this is
Yeah.
just another way to bypass all of that stress, because but in like your production applications or work applications, I want to advise, or even your personal project, I want to advise using just the ref, because you might need more control over the inputs to make some other changes on an event. So you might need to set up another state your for your inputs, and then
Mm-hmm.
based
Yeah.
on that whatever changes happens there, you just mutate the you make whatever you just do whatever you want. It's just like events, listen to the event, update the state basically. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's all.
Like,
That's all.
if you ask me, like, when I was creating some project, like I was using uses it all the time, like for inputs, like
Mm-hmm.
because we need inputs, like when we are having a different inputs, so one for name, one for email, and one for password. So we need to use a state here. Why? Because we
Mm-hmm.
need to get the data and store it somewhere so that we can send it to the
Yeah.
database and something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think user state
Yeah.
must is going to be good on that kind of situation. But right now, like
Yeah.
we can use useref instead of user state, because if we have used
Mm.
user state, we also need to use onchange for input, which will take like several lines of code. But right now, we can do it in a short amount of time and also in a short lines of code with by using ref itself.
Yeah, that's a very valid point, and I agree. I totally agree with you, Ali. That's a very valid point, and I'm glad I raised that up because in real world applications, you're probably working with some API or something. Whenever you have a form, so you're just making a push request to the API with
Yeah.
all the data you put in as a that the user has put in or something. So I think we should like check the comments because we have some like questions there, but
Okay, let's do
I
it.
hope we are I hope we have time to answer them. So Kelvin says, Hey, Kelvin, what's up? I hope you're good. Glad that you
Mhm.
joined us today." So
Yeah.
somebody said, let me start from the beginning. Um,
Okay.
okay, yeah, so people were telling me that I was live. I was live. So let me skip all this part. So
Okay.
somebody says, why would your reset still have any effect? I thought Tailwind took care of that, like the CSS reset we did.
Okay,
What do you think, Ali?
like, will the reset still have any effect? I thought Tailwind took care of that. So, like, Toby, like you did it, you added the store,
Mm-hmm.
like universal selector. So you also remove
Mm-hmm.
the margin, the padding, and box
Mm-hmm.
sizing. So I think Codex is
Mm-hmm.
true. Like, if we add Tailwind CSS, it's going to remove all of it, like reset the HTML. So I think there's no need
Yeah.
to add that margin zero, the padding zero, and also box sizing, because I didn't even see anywhere that someone is going to write it. I myself
Mm,
don't use
mm,
it. Like when I'm working in
mm-hmm,
a project like React,
mm-hmm,
Next.js, I don't even write
mm-hmm.
like margin zero, padding zero, because Tailwind is going to do it for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly, and that's a very valid point, Codex. Thank you for bringing that up, and because I've actually noticed that Tailwind actually has done their own CSS resets for you, so you don't actually need to write that CSS to reset stuff. It just happens, and it strips down every every default styles that your components could have that could be breaking things when you're styling. So yeah, that's a very valid point, Codex. Thank you for bringing that up. So Devanshu said, here we can use push method for pushing the text we write into stored array initial value. What do you think, Ali?
Okay, so wait a second. So here, can we use push method for pushing the text? Uh, we can for push. Like, let me think. I think we can't do it. I think because with push we are going to add new values to the array. Like there's an array. So when we use push, it's going to whenever we write something, like it's going to be added to the list, like to an array. But what like the process that we did is going it's very simple. Like we need to copy the array itself and add another array to it so that we can see all the list on the page. By push, I haven't used it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that is actually very much what we did was actually very much more efficient. I can tell you from experience with Devanshu, when you're working with like production grade apps, and if you are using you're just using like push to make to update your states which
Mm-hmm.
might be maybe an array of objects. It might not be very efficient and good on the long run for you because you might start breaking things and you might be losing data or losing some of your states might not persist to handle some changes that will happen later on. So push is good if you are doing normal operations that you just need to append to an array or something, or I don't know. There might be use cases for it, but you probably need to write some extra code to configure it. But in this case, using an object, spreading the old state and then updating it with the newer state changes that you're making is much more efficient in my opinion, and it's better for you, I guess, on the long run. So
Yeah,
yeah, thank you, Ali, for that.
yeah,
Yeah, so Kelvin says, I'm a big fan of Tailwind CSS. I've been styling with you for a while now. Yeah, Kelvin, I'm a big fan
mhm.
too. Ali, I
Yeah.
think
We
Ali is a
are.
good,
Yeah.
Ali is a very big fan of Tailwind as well.
Yeah, like before, like for me, like before using the Tailwind CSS, I wasn't a big fan of it. Like I was, because I used Tailwind CSS for some of the project and it was boring for me because I didn't memorize the syntax, the utility classes, so it was a bit boring. So I stopped it, and again I stopped it and then started using the SCSS because I found it very cool. Like you can
Yeah.
nest the elements, you
Mm.
can bring some styling and new features, but some like some months later, everyone is saying like you have to learn the Tailwind CSS. Like it's not going. It's very like it's very like everyone
Mm-hmm.
is using it. Like nowadays, if you see on Twitter, they're making an AI website. I'm sure that they are using Tailwind CSS. That's why they're going to make it in a week or in 3 days. So that's why that I'm using Tailwind CSS in all of my projects. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
boring.
yeah. Me too, me too.
Yeah,
I think it's much more efficient. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think it's much more efficient and it makes you faster. But I think Kelvin Power might disagree with us on that front because I've been following his newsletter and Kevin Power is always like it's not really anti-framework or anything. It's more like when teams are working on projects, they just overlook the part where you consider the importance of your CSS or something because CSS is mostly like the most underrated parts of projects nowadays, which is very true, anyways. But in my opinion, I think Kevin
yeah,
Powell still raises some good points. Arguing for how to use CSS and properly structure your CSS and stuff. And CSS architecture is something um um I'm really like curious about because there are paradigms to writing CSS and all those um stuff, and we probably shouldn't be boring people on the live stream with. But maybe in the future we'll probably do an episode where we talk about CSS paradigms and explore them or something. So to
hmm,
see how to
yeah,
properly set up CSS in your project. Yeah.
yeah,
So Codex came back rather, and he said to fix the warning in index or CSS. So Codex, it's like a thing that just a Tailwind does all the time. It's probably ESLint
yeah,
complaining to you,
hmm,
tell you that
yeah,
uh, unknown arturo something something. It's just an ESLint complaint or something. I think because
yeah,
I've always seen that complaint there all the time, but it's harmless. It's a harmless warning. It's just to warn. It's just like it just happens. Like I've been using Tailwind for like months now, and a lot.
yeah.
I'm using it on a lot of projects, and this I'm actually used to having this warning be in my in my CSS
Yeah,
file.
like
So
yeah, like
it's
me too.
normal. It's
Like
harmless.
yeah, like for me, it's also showing errors, like not errors,
Go ahead.
warnings all the time. So just don't care about it. Like it's not that necessary that you like must worry about it. Like it's just warning. It's not. It doesn't affect your project. Just copy and paste it, and you are good to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Devanshu says it was just I asked because I was wondering since we had quote it might store somewhere, right? So that's why. Yeah, we're actually storing it in the array, the initial. We're still storing
Mhm.
it back to the initial value array because we're still going to be mutating that array. Like we're still mutating it, but we are using our state as an interface to the initial value array. So we don't actually have to write to it directly. We're using the state to interface between them. So it's just good design for your React components and stuff. Good code design or code architecture, whatever. So yeah, so Kelvin says he likes boring A to B. So Codex suggested a way you can use to like turn the warning of Tailwind, the warning
Oh,
that the
okay.
directives in your CSS always throws for you.
Search
Yeah, so who
change
asked again?
CSS type.
Somebody asked. I yeah, somebody asked. Oh yeah, so it was
It's
Codex and
been
he
one
provided a way
over.
to turn it off. Yeah, good one, Codex.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
yeah, good one.
Yeah, we're over an hour. We're over an hour.
1 hour.
We
Like,
should probably like end and go now.
yeah, exactly.
So that's all for my end. I think I'm done for
Yeah.
today. We've spent over an hour, and the live stream is supposed to be like for an hour. So yeah, I'm done. I'm done. That's all. I don't have anything else to say.
Me too, bro.
How about
Um,
you, Ali?
I have also nothing to say. That's all. Like, we talked about like make the a very simple design, like work with user state and add the Tailwind CSS to the project. So this was the point of the live stream. So I'm sure that we did it very well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Awesome, awesome. So, for our next episode, we're going to be doing more and more awesome stuff with React and using other tools and everything. But I guess just stay tuned and subscribe, like, share with your friends and um people that you want to learn stuff, or maybe your enemies too. Yeah, it's always good to share with everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just rambling. Sorry. That's all for my end, and I think uh, this is
Yeah.
where we sign out and say goodbye, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend.
Bye,
Make sure you
everyone.
have fun and yeah, keep coding.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. See you.
Bye.